now that we have our player jump working, I'm going to actually show you a more modular approach to this and what I think is actually much cleaner. One of the things when it comes down to programming is you want to make sure that you're being very clean, and one of the rule of thumbs is that your update method should never be really cluttered with information. So one of the things we could do is if you're happy with this implementation and you understand it, is to isolate this code into its own functionality. So here, for instance, we have movements. This is all related to jumping. And this is all related to basically checking if you're grounded, right? So you could basically create some methods here called void movement. And let's go ahead and basically put float move in all of our jump code inside here. You'll remove it from here. And then you want to make sure you grab your rigid body.velocity. And we're going to go ahead and put that in here. So then what you would do is inside our update method, we would just call movement. All right, and you would do now the same thing for, this is your grounded functionality. So here we're gonna have something called void is grounded. So void or check grounded. And you would put that code in here, and now you have check grounded method. And this works just fine. All of this code is perfectly fine. We cleaned up our script, and now we have these methods. Now, one of the things I want to show you, though, is a better approach to all of this, and that's using a return type function to check if we're grounded and eliminate the need for the variable of a grounded state. So let me show you how this works. Basically, within one method, I can check if we're grounded and return that information using a function. So return type functions are just like these voids here, but instead of just running from top to bottom, after it runs from top to bottom, it's going to return something. So I'm going to remove void check grounded, and I'm going to recreate this jump functionality from scratch. And you'll see how this works. So currently, all I have here now is my movement code. So we have our float move, rigid body.velocity equals new movement, okay? And we can clean it out. This part here is going to stay. All right, so we'll save this, make sure everything is okay there. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to also delete this bool of reset jump needed. We may add it back in later, but I'm going to delete it for now, and this coroutine. So now we're back at the start of just having movement. So one of the things I want to do here is basically when we jump, we know we have to do all that code logic, right? So we're going to add that information back, but the grounded information or checking for grounded is going to be different. So here inside our movement, that's where we're going to check for jumping. So here we're going to say if we hit the space key, so if input.getKeyCode down, keycode.space, and then and grounded, right? Before we did this, we created a bool and then we did all the raycasting. Instead, we're going to create a method called isGrounded, and it's going to be a function that's going to return true or false. So within this, we're going to say if input.getKeyDown, keycode.space, and isGrounded is true. If I just leave it like that, it's just true. Or I can actually say equals true or false, whatever I want. So here, let's go ahead and create that method. So here it's going to be bool isGrounded. And that's going to return true or false. And whatever that value is, it's going to be assigned here and compared on this line here. So basically, if input.getKeyDown, keycode.space, and isGrounded equals true, then we can jump, okay? And we'll actually print out debug.log jump. All right, so now we have to actually fill in the code for isGrounded. Well, that's where our raycasting comes in. So for our raycasting, we're going to do physics2d.raycast. And basically, we're going to be raycasting from our vector2 origin, which is our transform.position. We're going to go in the vector2.down position. And from previous videos, we know that 0.6f is the appropriate distance. So distance, float distance, is going to be 0.6f. And then we need to look for the ground layer, which is going to be 1 bit shift 8. I will be using bit shift in this course, so I'm actually going to remove this other ground layer. So that's casting our ray. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to detect it. So here, if our raycast hit, right? So this is going to be our raycast hit 2D, hit info. So if we hit something, we're going to say if hit info dot collider is not equal to null. That means that we hit the floor, okay? And if we hit the floor, we want to then say you're grounded. So we're gonna say here, return true. Otherwise, we're gonna say return false. As soon as you use this return statement, it won't ever get to this line. So if we hit the floor, it's gonna return true. It's never gonna make it to this line. So we can go ahead and save this, hop back into Unity, and check it out. Now with this, we're still going to encounter that same issue though, where within the same frame, we're basically telling the program that, hey, we're grounded, okay? But you'll see here that that logic is actually going to happen. So you'll see here that our player, and I actually never added our force, so we need to add that real quickly. So in here we say jump, or here, you'll get a log. So if I jump, you'll see here that my code executed. However, we are not jumping because we don't have added force, but also the is grounded is going to run into the same issue that we had before. So to fix this, what we want to do here is grab our current velocity. So we're going to say underscore rigid dot velocity equals a new vector 2. We're going to keep our current velocity on the x, which is rigid dot velocity dot x. And we're going to use our jump force for the y. Now that we've done that, we now need to call that coroutine that's going to reset the jump. So here, we're going to re-add that back. We're going to say private bool reset jump needed, or here, we're going to just say reset jump equals false. And we're going to call that coroutine that's going to reset the jump. So we'll say IE numerator reset jump routine, and that's going to prevent us from being grounded while we jump. IE numerator reset jump routine. And in here, we're going to say yield return, or in here, actually, we can actually say, we'll say jump reset jump equals true. And then here, we're going to say yield return new wait for seconds. We're going to wait 1/10 of a second. And then after that, we're going to say reset jump is now false. And then here, we only want to return true on the ground if the reset jump is required. So here we're going to say if underscore reset jump is equal to false. So if reset jump equals false, that means that you're not jumping. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and say return true. But if you jumped, look what we're saying. As soon as you jump, reset jump is now true. This is a false condition. We're going to ignore this raycast for this frame, and it's going to return false. All right, it's going to skip this if statement and just return false. So is grounded is going to be false. Now we need to actually call this routine, and we're going to do that right here. So you're going to say start coroutine, and we're going to reset the jump routine. So you're more than welcome to use whichever implementation you like. This was to demonstrate a more cleaner approach. We have all of our movement code here, and then we have a function dedicated to checking if we're grounded. And you can see here that now in movement, we just have the movement code. And this is our jump here, and then everything else. And if you wanted to, you could even technically break out this into its own function called void jump, but that's a little excessive. I'll see you guys in the next video.